Greetings, friends, and this one is going to grab some attention. It is hot, it is dry, and no snow. I am talking about almost two-thirds of the country. West of the Missouri River Basin, things are dry. They're warmer than they usually are this time of year. The snowpack is melted. The rivers are already full of water, way ahead of schedule. What does that mean long-term for those who depend on water for, anything like drinking or irrigation or electricity or any of those matters? It's a big deal, especially in the Rockies region. In the middle part of that region, we are going to go to Fort Collins, Colorado today and have a conversation at Colorado State University with Dr. Allie Mazurek. And she's a Georgia native, and there's also things going on in her home area. But we're going to talk mostly about Colorado and the areas that are impacted by the Colorado River. We're going to show you some charts and graphs and maps and get a sense of just how dire this situation is. So that's today's MTOM podcast. I'm Paul Yeager. This is a production of Market to Market and from Iowa PBS here in the state of Iowa. And if you are in the state of Iowa or Illinois or Wisconsin and you're like, it's fine for me, this story still matters to you a great deal, and you all know that everything's connected. So I do appreciate your realization of that. So let me tell you to be sure that you have signed up for our Market Insider newsletter, which comes out each and every Monday, and this podcast comes out every Tuesday. And then we do the show over the weekend. Man, we're busy all the time. Let's get to this discussion. Fort Collins in April. Does that mean that green grass is starting to show?
Oh, yeah. Lots of grass, lots of flowers.
So does this mean the skiers have headed for elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean, you might have to leave the country to go elsewhere, honestly, this ski season. But yeah, I mean, I was at Steamboat last weekend for closing weekend, and yeah, lots of them closing earlier than expected.
Now, you're not a Colorado native, correct?
Correct, no.
From Georgia?
I'm from Georgia, yes.
So where did you get an interest in weather, climate from there?
Yeah, I just always grew up really loving and being interested in the weather. We get a lot of tornadoes in the South, so that kind of, memories of like hiding in the basement when we had tornado warnings was like something that I remember a lot from childhood. Yeah, and I just always was curious about science, and then, decided to study it in undergrad and then keep going, came out to Fort Collins and did my graduate school in atmospheric science here too.
And your official title at CSU is what now?
I am an engagement climatologist with the Colorado Climate Center.
So here we go. We're engaging us on the exact topic. We're right in the wheelhouse of where we need to be.
Sure are.
You were on a call of a colleague of mine. He saw you and says, you got to interview Allie. And you do presentations. What's been the highlight of, we always talk about in agriculture, and they do our analysts do presentations January, February. And I always say, what's the title of your speech? What's your title of your speech right now this year?
Hot, dry, no snow. No good news, unfortunately, really.
That is very succinct and to the point. So you focus mostly on your area of the world?
Yeah, for the most part, we focus on Colorado and, sometimes expand a little bit more broadly to the west and the high plains. But our office focuses mostly on Colorado.
Hot, dry, no snow. How long has that been going on?
Honestly, for months now, really throughout the whole winter. It's been drier than normal, warmer than normal. We haven't gotten a lot of snow out here. Just kind of the winter that didn't happen is kind of what it's been.
Is that because you're in La Nina, El Nino, neutral? Is there any attribution there?
It's funny. I was just on the way coming into the office today, I ran into a professor here, and he was mentioning that he had actually just done some analysis trying to pinpoint what's been causing all of this and really can't nail down a specific large-scale climate feature that's been driving this pattern. But, really we've just been stuck in this high-pressure ridge, some people call it a heat dome pattern, where we just haven't gotten a lot of precipitation and it's been really warm.
Well, it has, and March has been warm. And I've done this before. Those who've watched this podcast, Eric Hunt at Nebraska. Eric, you're not out of a job because I know he's watching. So, but Allie, let's talk about, we're going to do similar format if we could. Your first slide is about temperature run in the month of March. Explain temperature run for me first.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here is how warm was this past March compared to other Marches in our historical data record. So in this particular data set, we have 132 years of data. And as you can see from the map that you're looking at, anywhere that you see those dark red colors are states that set a new record warm March out of that 132 years of data. So as you can see across most of the Western US, at least top 10 warm March, a lot of them set their record warmest March. Okay. And it was warm everywhere in the US, honestly.
And we like to look bigger picture at times. Does a warm March indicate something down the line?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, to see like a warm March coupled with dry conditions, you know, for a lot of places in the West, getting precipitation in March is very important to our water supplies. So, you know, not seeing precipitation, seeing this really warm weather that we'll talk about this later, I'm sure, that has melted our snowpack down way ahead of schedule, certainly causes reason for concern in terms of water availability heading into the summer and also drought conditions as well.
When you mentioned temperatures and warm, so is this a strong departure from normal, you said?
Yeah, for sure. So for the U.S. as a whole, we were about 9 degrees Fahrenheit above average for the month of March, which might not seem like a lot, but, you know, when you're looking at the country as a whole, that's a very huge temperature departure. A lot of that has been focused, again, in the Western U.S. They kind of saw the most extreme temperatures. But again, a lot of the country was warmer than average throughout March.
And I'm looking at your departure from normal slide, and Eric and I talked about this about 6 weeks ago, and he was talking heavily to me then about Western Nebraska, and that's just kind of the edge of it, because it gets into Wyoming, Colorado, and marches west and north real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the heat out west has truly just been ridiculous. You know, I'm based here in Fort Collins, and we set a new monthly March record by 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So our previous was 81 degrees. We hit 91. Previous to that, we hadn't seen a 90-degree day until May. So now our March record is actually warmer than our April record too. So, you know, we didn't just break records here. We were absolutely shattering them.
Does that cause alarm bells?
Yeah, I would say it certainly does. You know, we've had this ridiculously warm winter, and like March really just kind of exacerbated the situation that was already not so good throughout most of winter. So certainly, you know, from a water perspective and the consequences towards that, that'll definitely be a concern heading into summer.
Warm is one thing, but not having precipitation is another. I know we were joking a little bit about the snowpack, but also in March, that sets us up. You said that is also a strong departure there when we look at the precipitation ran.
Yeah, and, you know, not gonna, you're just gonna cut to the chase here. It's truly very dire out in the West right now. You know, you see from the map here, lots of places saw a top 10 dry March, and that was coming off of a winter that has also just been very, very dry throughout the West. And, you know, I think at least, you know, I moved to the West. I haven't lived here my whole life. I never really had the perspective of how important getting water is here. You know, out back East, it's very plentiful. You don't really think about it very much, but out here in the West, like our snowpack is everything for getting getting water in the summertime to water our lawns, take care of our agriculture, you know, provide water for people and animals. So to see these kinds of numbers is just really, really concerning. And, you know, places like Colorado and Utah, like, have had their lowest snowpack on record this winter. So certainly reasons for concern.
Well, and for the lower snowpack, and again, back to the beginning talking about skiing, that's just a small economic thing for some on the outside. It's a huge economic thing for those areas that depend, and that's maybe half of their or two-thirds of their income for the year comes from that. And that disappears. So people are like, oh, that's just skiing. It extends beyond that, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, like heading into the summer, there'll be tourism impacts there as well. Rafting is a huge part of recreation in the summertime in the West, fishing, boating on reservoirs. So, if we're heading in with this lower stream flow that we're expecting into the summer, so we can expect a lot of those industries to be hit as well. And, that's just tourism. Agriculture will see impacts. Municipalities will see impacts. It really affects all areas of life here. Water's everything.
It is, and I've had conversations before with people, and I know that it's being debated about who gets access to water, and water has always been a story, but it hasn't improved. It's only gotten worse, and this year is not going to help in that discussion, and maybe it's going to amp up. It won't be rhetoric, it's reality that's happening right now.
Yeah. I think that, as we've headed throughout the winter, like, since January, our narrative has gradually shifted towards more and more concern as we've started to run out of time to accumulate that winter snowpack. And honestly, yeah, like the last couple weeks of March with these really extreme temperatures just kind of set things off into an even more concerning direction. So, we started to see actions being taken, drought task forces commencing, water managers starting to implement restrictions, farmers growing concerned over irrigation. So lots of impacts already starting to be seen.
And I'll let you get back to the slide. Sorry, I have that habit of
It's
meandering
okay.
around there. And you were we talked about March, but we've also had, again, this isn't a new problem. This is the precipitation from normal has been off for the quarter plus.
Yeah, so taking a look at this graphic here, so this is showing for the last 4 months. So, we've been focused on March here, which again was very extreme certainly in terms of temperature, but also on kind of the upper end of extreme for precipitation as well. But these deficits have been stacking up over the course of months. In Colorado specifically, really the last major precipitation system we got was back in October, which caused some flooding in southeastern Colorado. But really since then, we have not seen any sort of major precipitation system that has eaten away at any of these deficits. So we've been just, continuously stacking up and not seeing any sort of relief, really. A little bit of rain here and there, not to say it hasn't rained or snowed at all, but it certainly hasn't been enough to significantly make a difference in these major deficits that we're seeing.
Well, it snowed for 2 hours on a Sunday in January when the Broncos were playing the Patriots. I mean, we all think that what more did you need than that?
Right. I don't know, but the Broncos lost, so maybe that was a sign.
That could be. When you mentioned snowpack, this is something, A, how is it calculated? B, why is it important?
Yeah, so when we're looking at snowpack, we like to look at snow water equivalent. And snow water equivalent is basically just a measure of how much water is being held in the snow. And that's often a more useful metric than snow depth because, again, we care about the water in that snow for the runoff in the summertime to use across various economic sectors. So when we're tracking snowpack, we like to use that number and we like to compare it to historical snowpack data and see how that stacks up against previous years. And throughout a lot of winter, at least in Colorado, we've been running at about the third worst snowpack on record. There was a couple of years back in the 70s and 80s that were actually worse than this year. If you're an old timer, you might remember the winter of 76, 77 or 80, 81. But again, March really kind of changed everything. We were already in a bad place, and March really just took a huge chunk out of the snowpack. And you can see from the graphic on the screen that nearly everywhere in the West is running below average on the amount of water that's in the snow. And not just a little bit, by a lot. These numbers are in the teens for a lot of our major river basins. So 15-20% of average snowpack for this point in the year. So really, really poor numbers there.
And the red numbers are to be of more concern, I'm assuming?
Honestly, everywhere in the West is in bad shape. I would say if you wanted to pick a basin that's doing the best, that would be the Missouri River Basin. But even they saw a major impact during this March heat wave.
And the upper Missouri Basin goes up into starts in Montana and rolls through North Dakota before it hits south. So you're saying the black line there, I think that's in the middle, that has a March 1 kind of deviation or before May 1. Is that what I need to focus on here?
Yeah. If you take a look at that black line there, that's showing how our snow water equivalent has accumulated on average throughout the upper Missouri River Basin. And again, the upper Missouri is a huge source of water for a lot of our high plains regions. So we like to, keep an eye on that. So again, that basin has been doing one of the best among others in the West. But you can see here that even the March heat wave had a major impact on the snowpack there. It's so unusual to see the snow melt off like this in March. This is not something that we would normally expect until May. So to see this happen so early in the year certainly causes reason for concern heading into the summer.
For the last couple of years, or at least 4 out of 5 years, it seems like the Mississippi has had reduced navigation, and that's because of what comes out of Ohio and the Mississippi. But the Missouri also fills that and is also part of the equation. So it sounds like we're setting ourselves up for another challenge here as the year goes on.
Totally. And I think these back-to-back winters of poor, below average conditions are really when we start to get concerned. A lot of times water managers can get by with a one bad winter, but when you start to add those up over time, that's when things can really start to get severe.
I have an old contact that we used to interview a lot, and he used to say it wasn't that there was, because the question's always, is there climate change? Is there this massive thing? And he would say that there would be cycles. There'd be wet cycles, dry cycles, mixed cycles. Are we just in a dry cycle right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, some people might have heard that us talking about the notion of this mega drought in the Western U.S. that we've been experiencing for the last several decades. And so, that's not to go to say that we haven't seen some wet conditions percolate into that period. But overall, the overwhelming story has been more towards dry versus wet. So we certainly do see this cyclic period. And I want to be clear that, every winter going forward is not going to look like this one. We will still have normal winters. We'll still have wetter than normal winters. But I think with climate change, it could be expected that we might see more of these drier winters, especially with warming temperatures, earlier snowpack melt off, more precipitation falling in the form of rain versus snow. Those are all kind of consequences of climate change.
Decadal oscillation is what Elwyn Taylor used to call it all the time when we'd had that discussion. I don't know if Elwyn came up in your research, probably not as much, but those in the Midwest they understand him. Okay, you talked about a hot March. It melted things. It melted snow, but it also sucked a lot of moisture out, a lot of the soil in the country.
Yeah. So, soil moisture is a big thing that we like to track in terms of drought. And another thing that we like to track is evaporative demand, which, if you're not familiar with that term, that's essentially a metric for how thirsty our soils are and like how much, it's kind of what it sounds like, how much the atmosphere is wanting to evaporate water off of our surfaces. So when you see really high evaporative demand, that certainly raises some warning flags over concerns about drought. We've seen just really high evaporative demand numbers over the last several months throughout the U.S., especially in March. It was very, very high in March because, again, we had these really hot, warm, dry temperatures, or weather rather. So just kind of off the charts. So, all of these things combined are sort of, again, exacerbating what was already not a very good situation throughout a lot of winter.
Well, and part of it, when you look at this map, I mean, it's not just your region. It extends the middle to the east. It is the lower, not just 2/3, 3/4 of the country that had it. But part of that story, though, too, is that area, not all of it, but the middle part of it didn't have any snow cover for a long time. So that exposes the soil, right? Is that also part of that equation?
Absolutely. And that's, not having snow cover either has also allowed for temperatures to get warmer. Snowpack can act to kind of modulate temperatures by reflecting some of the sun's energy away from the surface. So when we don't have snow covering those areas, that can, allow for temperatures to be warmer. Certainly a lot of the focus with drought has been on the western US, but there are certainly other places that saw drought getting worse throughout the month of March as well. And one other place that I'll call out that's been particularly bad is the southern Georgia and northern Florida area. They've been seeing quite remarkable drought there as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about your home area if we could for a minute,
Sure.
because if you look at the drought monitor, that is some of the most, that is the dark purple that we always refer to on market with the drought monitor. It is southern, just like you said, southern Georgia, but we're also seeing it in the tip of Texas and then northwest Nebraska or northwest Colorado. So those three spots, again, historically not typical for this time of year to have those colors there.
Yeah, in the western US, I can at least speak to that. We often don't see drought get particularly bad throughout the winter time. We often see these major drought conditions start to set in during the summertime when it's really warm. Sometimes we can see, not a lot of precipitation during that time of year, especially in our mountain areas. But in the wintertime, drought is typically pretty well modulated by our snow that accumulates. So this winter has been pretty different. And I think it's also worth mentioning that seeing this exceptional drought category, the highest level of drought, is also fairly unusual. That category is meant to represent a 1 in 100-year drought, essentially. So, those additions are not made without a lot of consideration by the drought monitor or the drought authors. So, it's pretty uncommon to just see those kinds of conditions in general, I would say.
There's going to be a little bit of a limitation, I think, on I won't say interest, but maybe realization of how much of a problem the drought is in other areas that are not named North Dakota, northern South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, parts of Iowa, because they're out of the drought. Our audience very in tune to the corn and soybean cycle, not so much the wheat and the products that are grown and the grazing, all in these other areas. But why are the areas who are not in drought, why do they need to heed what you're saying about how serious this is in the other parts of the country?
Yeah, well, two things come to front of mind right off the bat, which is one is water. We've been talking about water a lot in this conversation, and a lot of the water comes from other places, like the western U.S., like the Missouri River headwaters. So that is helpful for some of those particular regions. Another thing I'll say is obviously, we have food and agriculture throughout pretty much all parts of our country. So when you see drought in these other areas, that obviously can take major impacts economically on the agricultural sector, and that can, bleed into other operations as well. So I think it's definitely worth being concerned over. And it's also worth mentioning that drought can change, the situation can change very fast. So while a lot of those areas have seen drought relief, I know places like Illinois were pretty deep into drought earlier this winter. So things can change relatively quickly if you're not getting that precipitation.
And the gradient can be pretty small.
Sure. Yeah, totally.
I'm going to go to last week, just right where we're at. Interstate 80 is the main street. There was a path of, even in the town I live, we're talking an inch of rain over 2 miles. and it was no bigger than basically you just had a paintbrush along I-80 for about 3 counties that had 1.5 inches of rain or 3 inches to nothing. And so it can matter, and it can change. So
Absolutely.
let's look at, of that class change, the drought monitor here in the last month. We've talked about March a lot. It's clearly showing up here in this next graphic.
Yeah. Again, really, March has just made the story so much worse. It was hot. It was dry. I know I keep saying the same thing over again, but truly the heat that we saw in March, particularly in the Western US, was very unprecedented and honestly bordering on edge of what I think scientists would even think would be possible at this time of year. Truly that has just fully changed the situation. And again, like, the Western U.S. has seen a lot of the drought worsening there. In particular, in Colorado, you see kind of that darker orange color. Those are locations where we saw 3-class degradations in the U.S. drought monitor, so 3 degrees worse in terms of drought. So, drought quickly settling in a lot of these places. But the story is true for other parts of the country as well. Again, parts of the Southeast, really the only parts of the country that have seen drought relief are portions of the Midwest area.
And it doesn't look like it's going to improve too much either.
Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of reason for hope in the longer range forecasts, no.
You have the next 3 to 4 weeks. Again, the areas that have been what they are going to continue. Those getting rain are going to get rain. Those that have been dry are going to stay dry.
Yep, exactly. So I think it's pretty safe to expect above average temperatures, especially in the Western U.S., but also portions of the Southeast. And then in terms of precipitation, maybe looking like we might see above average precipitation in parts of the Southwestern U.S., which would certainly be a welcome sight. But again, these deficits that we have are huge. Certainly we would welcome any precipitation at this point, but we would need, continuous moisture to really dig into some of those major deficits that we've been seeing.
And that's the immediate, but the seasonal looks that same way too, is what you're saying.
Yep, exactly. Not too different in the seasonal outlook, except for the fact that a lot of the Western U.S. is perhaps favored to see below average precipitation for the months of April through June. And then further east, potentially wetter than normal conditions. Seasonal forecasting is hard, and I wouldn't put all of my stock in this forecast. But certainly, I think, given the recent trends that we've been seeing, that's kind of the general direction that the forecasters are sort of thinking we're headed in.
There's a chance of precipitation in the middle section of the country. I guess I'll ask this. If it does rain in certain spots, is this the type of thing that can spread and help other areas? There's always that if it's dry, it's going to stay dry. But if it's wet somewhere else, there's going to be a backup of something. Is that a potential positive thing to look for if you're west of this middle section of the Mississippi River?
Yeah, I would say in general, not really. Obviously, like if you get precipitation in mountain areas, that can have downstream effects down riverways. A lot of the water in that particular area tends to be flowing south or east rather than west. So we really need that precipitation to be focused in the west if we want to see real benefits there. The drought monitor is kind of interesting in that, it's designed to capture local impacts over where you're looking at. I think that's been something that's been talked about in Colorado, for example, kind of what to do about these lower elevations who, presumably will have less water to work with. But I don't know, like the drought monitor isn't meant to capture that low snowpack in the mountains in those particular areas. So, I think for a lot of locations, we might expect drought to expand in the coming months as those water deficits start to set in.
Speaking of focus, you gave me a lot to work with, and I've drug this out already so far. So we're going to move to the Streamflow
All
forecast.
right.
We did talk about this already, especially with the rafting side, the economic side, but it also matters for drinking water and for water allotments of places. The Missouri River Basin, you said, was the of all the of all the bad kids, this one's the least bad.
Yep.
But tell me the outlier here. June, we always think of good flow.
General story in the Missouri, while it has been the highest snowpack out of the West as a whole, they're still running behind as well. Headed into the summertime, I think we can expect for Streamflow to peak earlier than normal because we had these really warm temperatures throughout March, and that's kind of continued into April as well. So we might expect that to happen earlier than normal. And also with the lower snowpack than normal, we are also kind of expecting there to be lower than normal runoff as well, even in that basin that's already doing well.
And then, as you mentioned, the stream flow forecasts, let's flip over to the Colorado Basin if we could, because again, the same factors we've talked about, but again, well, I'll just let you answer that first. Then I'll go to my next big question.
Yeah, again, the situation is really even worse here. The Colorado River provides water to most of the western U.S. states. And we're seeing from the official forecasts from NOAA very, very bad numbers in terms of runoff. Pulling a number out of my head, I believe the forecasted inflow to Lake Powell is 22% of average, which is just way, way below normal. And, if you look at the graphic there, anywhere that you see those pink or maroon colors are less than 50% of average stream flow expected along those places. So really not great numbers in the forecast either.
And Lake Powell kind of has a little bit of, that's a very visual thing for people to see. I mean, we remember a few years ago when we had this story 10, 15 years ago, the first time that we saw the band show up on Meade and Powell to indicate, oh, this is way below. How much lower are we going to could we go?
That's a great question. And there's still certainly uncertainty in the forecast. If we do get some relief in precipitation, in the form of precipitation during April, that could really, help things modulate them a little. Still expecting way below normal stream flow, but it could bump us up towards a direction of less bad. But yeah, and Lake Powell's been seeing lower than normal flows over the last several years. So I think it's safe to say that we'll be seeing some of that imagery again this year of these low reservoir levels.
Drinking water is one thing. I mean, I'm guessing there is no one that is going to get a permit to water their lawn anywhere.
Yeah,
the mountain and the Pacific time zone.
Yeah, certainly that we'll leave that up to the city lawmakers to decide, but. I know at least in Colorado, we're already seeing a lot of these restrictions being talked about, and people are worried.
And it's not going to end anytime soon, from what I'm guessing from what you said.
Yeah, I suppose if I could potentially offer a tiny nugget of hope, it does seem favored that we'll switch to El Nino conditions later this year. Certainly won't help us in the short term, and that might not set in until later summer if it does actually come to fruition. But historically, the trend has been that El Nino tends to favor wetter than normal conditions across the western U.S. Again, that's not saying 100% that's what would happen, but those conditions do tend to favor wetter than normal conditions. So I suppose that could be one hopeful piece to look forward to. But other than that, at least in the shorter term, not a whole lot of confidence or inspiration being felt in the forecasts there.
I kind of asked this earlier, but I guess I'll ask it one more time just to kind of put a bow on it. If I am not in your area, that I have a green grass or I have a full creek behind me that's normal for this time of year. Again, tell me how serious this situation is and how it will impact a great proportion of the country because of the situation that we're in because of March.
Yeah, I'd say it's very serious. The Western U.S. is a hub for agriculture, tourism, and lots of other things. And all of these sectors are really going to be impacted by the lack of water this summer. If you're thinking of traveling out here and recreating, you could be seeing a very different picture. And, with these dry conditions, we're also very worried about wildfires. And wildfire smoke can often percolate and be ejected and sent to other places very easily. So that brings up concerns over health and air quality. So these effects won't just be local. We'll see it in our food, in our travel, and in our water, of course. So lots of reasons to keep an eye on it, even if you don't live in this part of the country.
Your smoke becomes our filter, which lowers our temp, which slows down our corn production and bean production. We saw that last year and the year before. So yeah, it's very aware of. And yeah, the fire, we couldn't even, I think I'm gonna have to probably reach into one of your colleagues to really get into the wildfires there again. But I appreciate it, Allie. Thank you so very much for the insight here. And we will keep an eye on how things are going, because that's really all you're going to be doing for a while.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul, and yeah, keep an eye on the weather.
Sean Ingracia is the production supervisor for Iowa PBS. His crew is Reed Denker, Kevin Rivers, Neil Kyer, Julie Knutson, David Feingold. The executive producer of Market to Market is David Miller. I'm Paul Yeager. We'll see you next time.